Hey everybody, Vlogger here. I have something new to show you today, and that is my brand new anti-AI brush pack. And do you remember that one time an AI bro decided to generate some Kim Jong-gi artwork a while back, shortly after he died? The artwork generated looked absolutely terrible. And that made me think, is it because of the chaotic nature of Kim Jong-gi's artwork? Is it because of all of that detail? And just random stuff all over the place. So I thought, wait a minute. What if I also used chaos to protect my artwork? Like, will that work? And I've been thinking about that a lot. So now here we are with this anti-AI brush pack inspired by that one incident. And here I am showing you the brushes themselves. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They are going to be available for download in my Gumroad link in the video description below. If you want to go check it out, do it now. Click on it. And I know it's free, but I know Gumroad, when you try to download, it will probably ask you to enter a number, as in money. But you can just enter $0, $0. That should work. And then you hit download, and that should be it. Put it into Procreate, and it's good to go. So, the love brush, angry brush, love square, and the angry square. These four are pretty much the same. The ones that say brush, it looks like brushes. Do you see that? The shape there on the left? I'm toggling the size. It looks like a brush shape. And it's very good to treat this as if it's a round brush, even though it's not. Just pretend as if this is a round brush. And the square ones, of course, look like squares. And I like to use these for carving shapes, silhouettes. And the love brush and the love square, they say a few things. Do you see that? That is the texture these brushes are made of. The love brush is made of support artists everywhere. Some are flipped, some are rotated, because this brush is supposed to be so randomized that it's going to be impossible to recreate like this. Do you see that? It's randomized. So it looks like words. If I do it like this, it just looks like words, right? And it might bother you, but I assure you, if you just keep drawing, just like this, it will stop looking like words and it will start to look like textures, And especially if you not only lay down strokes like this, but you also erase with it. Hang on. Like this. Especially when you erase, it makes it look less like words and more like textures. So from afar, it just looks like a nice fuzzy looking texture effect. But if you zoom in, of course, you're going to see all the words that the strokes are made of. And the angry square and the angry brush is made of profanity. It's made of curse words. Look, see? Like this. Do you see that? And if you erase with the exact same brush, of course you're going to see erased out bits that say the same thing. The other brushes, the willies, the 4 willy brushes, let me just explain to you briefly what they do. So the little willy is the softest. I like to use it for soft shading because it's so subtle, very soft. And this glow effect in the background is actually made using the willy brushes. I think I used little willy, and then I erased parts of it also with the willy brushes. Like this. See how that's just so soft? It looks wispy, even though it's textured. And as you can see, it's made of... Hang on. See if I can get it. to work. Okay, it's made of a bunch of willies. And if you look closely here, you should be able to find some. See, there's a willy. There's another one. It's everywhere. It's even in the cloak. See? Lots of willies for everybody. And what the medium one does is just a stronger version of the little willy. See? So if you press hard, it will be kind of opaque, but you can still shade with it. And the big one is the strongest of them all. It's very strong. It's very opaque, but still fuzzy looking. And I like to use these for carving out shapes as well. So what I like to do these days is instead of using thin line art brushes to make like fine lines, I actually just lay it on fat strokes just like this, and then I erase it out to get a very artsy looking thin line, you know, just like this. That's what I like to do, which is perfect for if you're trying to go for a more painterly look just like this one, and instead of like a line art heavy drawing. And what the rainbow willy does is, I'll give you a little demonstration here. Let's just go for a blue. So I might be making a big chunk of blue, right? Just like this. But if you look closely, there are a bunch of variations in the color and the brightness and the darkness, because I have deliberately set this brush to do exactly that. And if you keep on layering it, you should still see a lot of willies, you know, everywhere. It's everywhere because it's made of willies, the entire thing. And that's pretty much the entire brush pack. Okay, so I'm going to be showing you me drawing this artwork with this brush pack in the background here as I continue to talk. If you haven't tried textured brushes before, this would be a good time. This would be a good time to try them out.
I was in the process of drawing this orange, so I thought I would show you me drawing with it in real time so that you can get an idea of how I use these alongside listening to me talk about what these brushes are supposed to do. So, from what I've seen over the years, one of the things that AI cannot quite get right is outlines, and especially line art. I have no idea why just line art, you know, like complex looking black and white line art with no color very often just looks like it fails more than line art with color. I mean, look at what the AI did with Kim Jong-gi's art. And also, if you look at the newer images that is generated these days, what they like to call Ghibli art styles, the line art issue being off isn't completely gone. It's just still there. And as a viewer, you would notice the first impressions, you know, like 80% of the picture you would notice, and you would think, oh, okay, you know, it's fine to me. But then of course the remaining 20% you'll notice like 5 to 10 seconds later, and you'll start to see flaws. And there's always this these occasions where you go, hang on, like something doesn't look quite right, you know, like whatever it may be. That issue is always there with the line art. But the thing about line art is, I'm not sure how you can work around having your line art be prevented from being stolen, you know, because no matter what you do with line art, it will always look like line art, no matter what brush you use, no matter how you draw it. line art will always just look like line art. So it's one thing that the AI cannot quite get right, but I would say it's like not as obvious as some other ones I'm going to be talking about. And some of the other ones I wanted to talk about is just, I guess you could say, techniques in drawing, or like some approaches to drawing that you can do to pretty much as if you are glazing your own art, but with your bare hands, is by being so good at art and having so much experience that you can actually make your art immune to being trained on. Let's just take Kim Jung-gi again as an example. His artworks often contained what seems like 1,000 people. And there would be robots, there would be zombies, there would be animals, there would be cars, there would be lots of things, food, props, or they could be inside, they could be outside, they could be holding a bunch of stuff, they could be fighting, they could be in the air, they could be sitting. But because he's so masterful with drawing the things that he did draw, it's impossible for the AI to recreate whatever he did, which is very interesting to me because it got me thinking. I wonder if that's the case because Gen AI is made by people, and for people to be able to comprehend whatever he did, the people actually need to be that good. So I'm wondering about that part. Or is it just mostly machines learning it, because when the machines learn it on their own, it clearly doesn't work, because the results now clearly looks like it's not working out, you know? I mean, look at what kind of results the AI made, the AI generated when Kim Jung-gi died. I know that was a long time ago, but still, the results look so bad. So I was wondering if that's because of human error, because of course the AI is made by people, or if it's just so hard for the machine to actually comprehend all that. So aside from being so good at art that your own eligibility, I guess you could say, for having your art be usable by the likes of Midjourney and ChatGPT, other than of course using the actual Glade and Nightshade, because I know Nightshade is supposed to poison and Glaze is supposed to protect. So other than those two things, I guess one way of doing it is by adding chaos, elements of chaos and unpredictability in other ways that you can. And in this case, it's by using brushes that generate texture, which is also another thing that I'd like to talk about. I happen to think that over the years, I haven't really seen AI nail texture. Like, let me just show you. I'm gonna put this entire thing, this entire sheet, I'll give it like a noise scale. See, this is the kind of thing AI likes to do for occasions where it needs to have texture in the artwork that people want generated with texture. It never really does anything different other than that. And it's been a long time now since AI became a thing, and then to this day, every form of special effect, textured special effect, every form of texture, every form of, I don't know, like along the likes of disintegration, always looks like, well, whatever I just showed you, you know? So here I am thinking, hey, what if I just introduce textures of my own? And these textures are made up of words that are just unmistakable. Like when you start to notice it, it's impossible to not notice them. anymore because it's just so obvious. And in this case, it's the FAI brushes and support artists one. I'm using the support artists one right now. And even if I draw it super small like this, it still would end up looking like words, you know? And I have not seen AI do this before. And I did try to ask ChatGPT at least. I haven't tried Midjourney, but I did try it with ChatGPT to generate me a bunch of stuff. Actually, you know what? Let me just show you right now. So I made this. I made 3 blobs using my brushes. All of them have words, as you can see. You see the words, yeah? Especially this one. The words look very obvious, even if you can't really make out what they are, what they say. It's very obviously words. And I gave it to ChatGPT and told it to generate me a fireball in the same style as this one, this blue one. And it gave me this. Note that the background is actually white. Keep that in mind as I keep talking. And remember how I showed you that noise earlier, the texture noise? Let me just do it again. It's this one, this type of noise. It's what it's doing here again. It's like it's been put through a filter and the entire thing just looks the same. So I made something seriously. Next I made this. It's another fireball using my brushes, and you can see the different ding-dongs, you know, it's all over the place here. You can obviously tell a lot of these are the FAI words. Like some are flipped, some are rotated, but they all say the same thing, especially here. You can see AI, it says AI right there. It says KAI, this one's FCK, but flipped. Also again CKAI. And I gave it to ChatGPT and it generated these 2. Here's one and here's another one. And note the shape, these 2, the shapes look the exact same. So what it pretty much did was it copied one for one what I gave it, and it just gave it back to me. But the thing that it didn't do was copy the textures right, because there's no profanity. These little, I don't know what I can call this, ghost marks, I guess, they don't look like words. And again, note how the background is white. And here's another one. This time it made the fire look like it's made of watercolor, but the outer parts are still disintegrating. Look, it even did the same thing here, where it's just going that way and then it's going straight down, just like this. See, it's the same, and it's the exact same as what I did. So it really couldn't do it any other way. So I was like, okay, you know what? Let's just try something different. I wanted to now generate me the same thing, the same fireball, but make it be in the middle of a forest. And I don't know why it was hard for the AI to just copy paste the same thing. Like just take the fireball and just put it on top of a forest background, but it ended up generating something completely different. Which is very strange. Like, did it not just take my fireball artwork here and remember it? Why can't it just do the same thing here? Do I have to actually make a fireball surrounded by a forest myself and then give it to the AI for it to understand? I found that very strange. And note how the background now is white. Look at the texture of the background, and then look at the texture of the fire. It's the same. Again, no words, and it's the same texture as what I showed you before, like this. It's just that type of overall texture. So it couldn't recreate worded texture. I asked it to do it again, but make the fire, the flames, a bit more varied and make it go in other directions. And it did it again, but in this watercolor style. Even though I must say that at least it made the outside parts look disintegrating, but still no words. And I actually gave it this specific artwork to the AI again, and I told it to generate this same exact fireball, as in this very specific fireball just like this one, but make it float on top of a wizard's open palm. And it gave me this. And the fire just looks completely different, even though the background is white, which is very strange. Like, it couldn't just copy paste this one and then move it here. Like, do I have to actually draw a wizard doing this myself and then feed it to the AI for it to understand? Look at the hand though. The hand is wrong. His thumb is on the inside part of his body instead of being out here. So it's making me think, do I have to make 10,000 fireballs and give it to the AI just for it to get it right once? Because I'm not gonna do that like 10 times a day unless somebody paid me to do it. Also, I made this artwork, and I have to say, this is one of the more super refined looking artworks that I did, where I made the brush super small and they just really dug into the detail, just tried to make it look super detailed, and it ended up losing a lot of its texture if you look at it zoomed out. But if you zoom in, of course, you'll start to see this, remnants of just the words that are contained in the textures of these brushes. This AI part right here, and then there's another AI here. The background, the glow, is made up of a bunch of ding-dongs. So is the color of this cloak. See it? You can see a ding-dong right there. Here. There's one. Here's another one. And this bottom part looks, this entire disintegrating part looks like words, even though you can't really make out what they say because it's so chaotic. And somebody on Reddit actually generated a new image by feeding mine to the AI, and I'm going to just guess that this is ChatGPT. Don't think I have to say anything about it because it just looks completely different. I don't know why I couldn't get the eyes right. Why did the eye melt into the cheek like that? I don't know. Look at the colors used though, the exact same, right? Blue background, red cloak. Well, pretty much is the same thing, the same subject matter. And then somebody else did the same thing. And the textures here are even more obvious of how it just applied an overall texture to the entire thing. And I got curious, so I tried to do it myself. But I tried to make the character that I drew be standing in the middle of an office instead. And it ended up generating a completely different style. And again, look at the glow in the back. It's still there, the blue glow. Like, for some reason, it couldn't let go of the blue glow that I did. And if you look at these three characters, these three versions, they all very much look like that one recent Studio Ghibli style, as they like to call it, that they've been doing a lot, just with an added overall texture on top of everything, And this is mine. And somebody else tried to generate what I did, but I guess this person tried to make it look like I guess this is a bounty hunter? I don't think I can call this one Jango Fett. I'm gonna get some Star Wars fans angry if I do that, so I'll just call this one a bounty hunter because I don't know much about Star Wars. But yeah, look what it did. Blue glow in the background, there's a red cloak, and this isn't the style that I drew in. And once more, look at the overall texture it added on top of everything. It's not as obvious here because the background is black. And I tried to do the same thing myself. I told the AI to generate me a bounty hunter from Star Wars, but make him stand in the middle of a forest just so the AI won't give it a black background again. And it's more obvious now that it just added an overall texture to everything. See that? The same texture again is this thing that you see. It's just everywhere, like it's been put through a filter. And I like to not change the brush size even though I'm going small details. I like to just lay down a big fat stroke just like this and then erase it out with the same exact brush, even though the same exact brush is also enormous. It just saves a lot of time doing it like that, doing it this way. And now I can alpha lock this, maybe go on the blue side for the bottom part here. maybe even almost white. Let's merge everything together again. And you know what? Maybe not that part. Let's merge this one, but we can make another layer on top that we can use to add some more lighting effects. I'm going for a crazy looking highlight here in the center. And by the way, if you haven't tried textured brushes or drawing techniques that use heavy textures, this would be a good time to try, because these brushes are free. And I guess you can say that if, let's just say, this is going to be a weird analogy, okay? Let's just say that if there is a bathroom, let's say this is the bathroom, and there's a drain here, and everything in this bathroom is art, and this entire pipe going down, the drain is actually Gen AI, and this entire bits down here is AI images. What I'm doing isn't completely getting rid of this drain here, but it's more like clogging it up a little bit with a bit of hair, so whatever flows down here isn't exactly the way it looks up here, you know? And I think it's even more obvious that there's a big difference, because this isn't like an anime style orange, you know? So if there are some things that you can do now to help make it harder for AI to comprehend your art, and for people who like to train AI to be maybe a little bit put off by even attempting to train AI using your art because it's just going to take more effort, then why not do it by doing it this way? And also, let's just take this as an example. You remember those pictures I showed you earlier about the different attempts that people did and I did at generating the exact same thing that I made using these brushes? They never really quite look the same, right? And of course, everybody has their own preferred ways of drawing. And if you cannot say that you have an art style, maybe you don't feel like you have one. I like to think that every artist actually they have their own obsessions. And by obsessions, I mean everybody likes to draw a different way, whether it's because of technicality, like maybe you just skip a few steps because it kind of sucks to do it the proper way, because you just don't like using the software that you're using to draw that way. But everybody has their own preferred methods of drawing, and all the more true if they have a strong art style. So if you already have an art style, or if you have already a preferred way of drawing, then added with how you are using these brushes, it will add that much more, I guess you can call it confusion, or that much more of a hassle for AI or people who use AI to try to generate images from your art. It's a good time to embrace texture. I happen to draw textured, and if you don't know how to draw textured, you can always let me know. Tell me in the comments, hey Velga, can you tell me how to draw this and that? Maybe hair, maybe skin, or water, or rocks, or trees. Then I can show you how to do it, no problem. Let me just show you some of the stuff I've drawn. So this is one of the things that I've drawn using noisy brushes, a lot of texture. And I guess you can say that the texture looks like dots. Like, can you see the dots all over? So it's not that the entire thing has been blanketed with an overall texture, but it's more like the brushes themselves, instead of made up of the words FAI and support artists, it's just made of dots. And also, here's another one. You can clearly see how it's made up of dots, lots of dots. And this is a monster artwork that I did. And yeah, I guess it's more tight, I guess. It's still made up of dots though, even though the dots are very small. Because I went surgical with this one, like a surgeon. Went with super small brush sizes to just make everything look as detailed as I can get it to. But still, it looks like it's made up of dots. And so is this one. There's also a monster. Everything is made up of dots, as you can see. And I did the same thing with my current brush pack, the anti-AI one. Let me just give you a demo here. It looks like words, right? But if you just use it, keep using it, it'll stop looking like words and just start to look like texture. Especially if you start erasing into it too. All these words just sort of disappear. And it's very easy to achieve these noisy effects. Let's just try making like a big stroke here, and I'm going to carve into it to make like a shape. See how easy it is to just have this little messy parts all over the place. It's good to just leave them be instead of erasing them. That way you get the full advantage of the textures these brushes can give you, which is just a bunch of these words. Like, you can try to get it looking as clean as you can, these lines, like this. See, I'm trying to make it clean, yeah? But these little messes that you leave behind, like this says support artist, just leave them, because it just looks nice. I guess if you are working heavily using line art and you are just coloring using basic default brushes below, this is a good time to go painterly.
I thought I would show you this also because I thought this was interesting. So clearly ChatGPT failed to recreate the textures that I use, what these brushes are made of, you know. So at one point I kind of, it was a mix of this strange disappointment and frustration at how it just wouldn't even try to generate these words that my brushes are made of. So I just told it to, as you can see here, I'll just read it out for you. It says, okay, clearly the artwork I provided contained textures that say FAI, so can you just generate me another fireball, but using those textures that contain the words? And then it refused. It refused to do that because it can't recreate images using textures that contain offensive or explicit language, including the ones that say FAI. And then I censored my request. So I told it to generate textures that contain the word fork AI instead. But it still wouldn't do that because it interpreted my request as an intent to mimic or imply offensive language. So I was like, you know what, let's just change my request completely to generating something that said purple AI instead. And it just refused. I would say this is the very obvious refusal of not wanting to generate textures that contain any words. Because as you can see, it says right here, I still cannot generate images using textures that contain embedded words or phrases, whether it's purple AI or anything else as part of the texture itself. And then it told me a bunch of other stuff, this entire paragraph, but that doesn't really matter. And let me look for something else that's interesting. Oh yeah, here's another one. I also got frustrated at how the wheelie brushes are made of, well, it's made of pictures, you know, like doodles, and it's not made of words. And I asked it to just, you know what, recreate this, because no matter what kind of gradation or like art effect that I tried to make using these brushes, it couldn't get it right, you know. So I just wanted to make sure if these brushes can be recreated at all. I just went ahead and gave the AI ChatGPT the actual textures itself to recreate it, and it just sent me back the exact same thing, which is funny. I mean, I've never seen a more blatant case of plagiarism, because this is just the exact same thing. And I was like, okay, you just sent me back the same thing. So I made this instead. I told it to generate me a black and white gradation like in this picture, in the same style as this picture. And this is actually made of the little willy brush, or was it the rainbow willy? I don't know, but I used white over a black background. You can see the willies everywhere, and it just gave me this this vague squiggles done in black over a white background, and you can't see any of the willies in there. So I guess it can't recreate the willy brushes either. So the willy brushes are safe. The brushes made up of words are also safe. And if you have any more ideas on what kind of anti-AI brushes I should make, like if you want them to say something else instead of like support artists, then go ahead and tell me so I can make them for you. I gave you free brushes, you subscribe. I think that's a fair trade. That's gonna be it for today. I'll be seeing you again later.